remade, but believe me, if teams are playing that 200 IQ thing, they will have changed up things since then to try and trick out their opponents. Let's see, though. Let's see the game is starting as we speak. And we'll see if any chaos should commence early on. K23 out early alongside Zoekt Een Naam going down towards Valdemar. Seekorg as well, making their way on up towards El Pozo. We need a home. They look to do the power grid split. As you like to call, take some control of the compounds and the power grid itself up and around there. Seems like Wildcats, they'll be making their way down towards Picado. I'm a little surprised they get that one for free, but that seems to be the case. So good for you guys. And then Gamerlegion doing their, I like to call it pre-Picado. I don't know, like the Picardoian suburbs.
Okay.
I don't know, just pre-Picado, looting around the compounds on the southwestern side can really, really make it rough to rotate out of Picado if you don't know approximately when the team that in this case is Gamerlegion like to rotate away from there on the southern circles. And the other way around, if you're a team like Gamerlegion, if you don't know approximately when Wildcats like to rotate in the northern circle, how do you maneuver around Picado on your rotations? You see Hamster already getting shot at by Honor, I believe it is. As all these teams are starting to jump on out in each their corners and holy northwestern circle. This should be an interesting one to kick things off.
That's a crazy one to deal with.
Yeah.
You know, we are not slowing down on interesting circles. I'm telling you that now.
Yeah.
This has been 2 weeks of this for some of these players to deal with. It's sometimes just the way it goes, though. And a lot of these teams, especially when they're coming around from the east, are going to have a rough time getting all the way around. I'd likely see Besiktas and Avangar teams like that go for the full northern rotation in rather than try and fight their way through, because that's going to be a cluster that no one would like to deal with.
Yeah, we already see Nox coming in, no tag team getting themselves the first knock and a finish off on towards one of the Futbolist players that is on the western side of Minas Generales down towards the area of a graveyard. And that's actually really fortunate because, as you can see, as you guys can't see, but if you're not watching the map stream as well, Eros is actually all by himself. So had there not been any knocks on his part coming in there, that could have been Futbolist players coming over to help. And I think that's why you saw the flush come in so quickly as well. He was not taking any time, get that finish off, limit the information that the Futbolist players could get. And that's going to be Eros by himself. But again, first game on the map, there will be some of these early game confrontations.
And this is nice for us to see, because we saw a couple of games for Group A where they tried to play Miramar. And we got a small feel for it, but we never got to the end of a game. So now we get it again. And I have just had it confirmed in my ear. All week Miramar. So this is how they catch up. So keeping it fair in a competitive sense, that both Group A and Group B play the same amount of maps, the same amount of times. This will be all on them to see what they can do on Miramar this time around.
Also will be nice for these players to not have to jump back and forth. Maybe some will, from a viewing perspective, find it not dull, but just a lot of the same. Whereas from a playing perspective, believe me, I think a lot of these players prefer this way of doing it, because you can, on a daily basis, sort of prep yourself for what happened yesterday, how to bring it into today, or how to bring it into tomorrow if you do your post-game analysis right after. Whereas to when you have to jump around like back and forth between the maps, you have to, okay, so what happened 2 days ago? Even though you say, well, 2 days ago, of course you can remember, still, when the memory is completely fresh right off the day before, it's easier to work with.
Now, Besiktas, we spoke about this team that's on your screen at the moment, being in Phase 1, one of the most dominant teams we saw on Miramar. They got back-to-back wins on the opening games in Miramar, but also they were consistently able to just seem to master the terrain and what was going on around them before other teams really had a clue of how to do it. They just seemed one step ahead a lot of the time. But when we saw the previous 2 games, which didn't actually get completed, they didn't have the best time going into it. So I want to see if it was just because of Phase 1 and they really feel in a good place, or is Phase 2, and where all these teams in here, a little bit more competitive that's going to make it harder for them overall.
Also, it's going to be interesting to see how and where people are planning on rotating on this one. Bjorn trying to hold off some rotations from Wildcats. Of course, them knowing now that Gamerlegion haven't left yet, is potentially going to be them rotating somewhat later next game. Oh, Bjorn, if you could have landed that one on Katurkan, that would have been a good one.
I like how we've just completely settled for Katurkan as his name now. That is
I'm sorry.
You are now Katurkan, and you are now getting knocked and flushed out. Slippy Zerg happens to all pick up the first frag there, and able to get the job done on getting these players on the rotations. A lot of the Wildcats did make it through, but there was a good setup coming out here from Gamerlegion. They're looking to do some more damage as well. Honor, you do not want to stop here.
No, but at the same time, Hams, I mean, now Makan is coming up to help him, but had they, I mean, other teams, for example, talking Besiktas, they are the team that will stop, turn around, and take that fight. Hamster right there, he was miles out in the open, and had there been 2 or 3 guys pulling up on him, there's no way in hell he would have survived that, no matter which of these teams it is. So good to see that Gamerlegion, the remaining players, were coming up to help quickly, because they have been one of those teams that in the games that didn't get off well to the start, I mean, even before first rotations, they were losing players, and now, I mean, fortunately, get themselves a point off early on, and they'll get things going off with that.
Amino's going to be very happy with that level 3 gear he just grabbed himself, and especially it's down at the bottom of El Pozo. There's no real teams contesting him at the moment. They're looking to take some control just towards the trailer park by the looks of it.
Yeah, these rotations are going to be interesting. You're going to see a lot of teams coming in from the far, far north. Teams might even go all the way up over the Oasis at this point, and that's what I was kind of going over towards just before. Where do teams position themselves in this circle? Because normally you say, first circle, go as center as you can. Odds are that you're going to be closer to circle 2. But here, it's craters, it's huge dips and valleys. I mean, you just can't really put yourself in a spot where you don't get pinned between teams, and it makes it so hard to rotate should that next circle shift to one of the edges. Oh, watch out, watch out, watch out. Rocks here and there, rocks here and there.
This comes back to what I said. My practice on Miramar on the bike. Yes, you love the bike on Miramar, but I am absolutely trash at using it when it comes to this, because I'm the dude that falls into the rocks.
Just control space, or whatever you keep behind your lean forward and backwards on. Just gotta practice it. That's all we got. That's all we can do, and that's what we see these guys do time and time again, playing every day, all day, every day, making sure to be ahead of the game as best as they can.
I think I just got fat fingers and it doesn't work.
That's also a thing. That's also a thing. Believe me, fat fingering, that's a very much a thing.
Avangar are doing what we say. They're not on the screens at the moment, but if you've got the map stream up, which is live, they're up towards the far north, and they've all gone over to the east still. They're going to be doing a little bit of extra looting, but they're just going to wait it out, and we saw this. They were not getting engaged in fights last week until, 2 weeks ago now, until there was like 11, 12 teams left alive. They were coming in rotations late, and they realized that this is the style that works for them, because they tried to change it up early on, and they got punished for it in a big way. They kept going out quite early.
They were pretty much doing in phase 1 what we saw 7 Gaming or 7 Esports doing in the beginning of phase 2 here in the beginning of the week, where they say we want to get those 25 kill games, and we want to go get 10 kills before the second circle even pops. That's all good fun, but if you lose 2 players doing so, you just limit your chances to get into the late game by such a big margin that you won't get there anyway. So for them, they're saying, you know what, we'll just miss out on those couple of early kills that we could have had we gone super aggro. We'll take the late rotation, and then we'll just start harvesting late game instead.
That's going to be a good start for the Futbolist. This is what they want to turn things around. They lost Mockingjay early on, and maybe now they'll be able to hold on and get some kills. That's Ultra instantly eliminated for Besiktas on the rotation. He was a little bit closer to where Futbolists are. The rest have worked their way around the other side to avoid that damage coming in. But that is what Besiktas cannot afford to have happened here early on. This is a very big loss for them.
But this is also the thing, when it's the first game, you don't know how teams rotate on different circles. You haven't seen them play from different areas before. Maybe they've even changed up this game, so they have no info to fall back on whatsoever. You just don't know where to expect some of these teams to be playing from. That is, I mean, also got to keep in mind we're playing 3 different regions. It's Middle East, it's Europe, it's CIS, and it's Africa as well, right? So plenty of different regions represented, and even from within that, a lot of different places.
Morpheus, why stop it?
Are you gonna shoot him? Are you gonna kill him? No. I mean, this is a long distance, so full respect on that one.
Morpheus even stopped though. I was so scared for him.
He did hit the light pole, I think it was. So, yeah.
The worst timing for that to happen to him, but he does manage to escape either way, so Powerful won't lose anyone just yet. So we went for a hard northwestern shift. We're now going to go over towards the east, and Avangar are going to say, thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Just come to us. We just rotated in now, you know, not a problem.
This circle is going to be interesting. All this, I mean, if you follow the roads from water treatment all the way over towards the western side and the craters, all the roads are the low points. Everything else is uphill, uphill, uphill. So you see a lot of the teams here trying to take positions that are up and high. Istanbul Wildcats, they only connected with 3. They lost 1 early, and now they lose their second 2. Unfortunate start to the game, but again, these rotations, it's hard to know what teams are doing around you. And as we talked about, because these areas are so hard to come by in this sort of terrain, in this area of the map, the difference between highs and lows, all these valleys and big mountainsides, it's just really hard to know where teams are around you.
Poor Bjorn trying to duck and dive around some bullets coming out towards him. It was Furax shooting on from the mountain. That's not a fight that Bjorn is willing to take just yet.
I also like to see them being a little more passive. That's what we've been talking about with Gamerlegion, how sometimes they'll lose a player early in a situation where maybe they even had the better sort of side in the fight. They just went a little too aggressive when they maybe didn't have to, and got caught off on that. So now let's see them move together as a unit and get some kills here.
That's what it's going to be about for him here as well. Then Page needs to be careful. An instant headshot from Bjorn. We just caught that perfectly. Page, don't forget an idea that was going on anywhere close to him.
Yeah, he had no clue what was lined up behind him. Good hit by Bjorn to get that finish off there.
It's that straight line dominating, splat. Heads hit the wheel.
It feels good too. I mean, for a player like Bjorn who knows, I mean, he's got to know with himself that, damn it, I went down too much early game in week 1. I got to make up for it. To come off on a start here, they got themselves a first kill on one of those first rotations. So Hamster got himself secured that one, and now he gets a good hit there. That's like, that's a good confidence booster going into the first week. Or into the second week, I mean, sorry.
Furax still tapping away, looking to try and land some additional shots here. Plenty of bullets. And a 6 times to work with there. It's been nice and easy for him to just hold this position as long as he doesn't overextend too much. He's got his teammates around him, but they are in a 2-2 split, so I want to keep it sensible here.
What's interesting to me, though, is that Seekorg rotated out as early as they did. They were the team to loot El Pozo, and you saw Furax there. He just had 1 first aid and no bandages. So they might just have rotated out, trying to take a position a bit too early and shoot this next circle hard shift east as well. I mean, first of all, they're going to be on the edge fighting their way through. Second of all, they might be going into it against teams that are just that better looted than what they are.
They'll have to fight their way out of it if that is the case. As Higgy, we've seen him miss a few shots already, and it is at distance, but he's struggling to land these ones of players just running around in front of him.
Punch the air in agony. I should have had that one.
He's like, come on.
But it is, I mean, it is a far distance, and you can't really take anything against them. But the fact that they're taking these shots goes to show the amount of damage that some of these teams can indeed manage to get down when they do hit them. I mean, players like T-Bone and whatnot that maybe won't miss a lot of those kind of shots.
And Forze is that team, right, where we say they are very aggressive with it, but they have no problem just rolling up on compounds and trying to take that challenge, even if it does cost them a little bit. As we shift down to the southwest, Gamerlegion, Seekorg, going to be loving life right now. We need a home. It's benefited them at the same time, but having this crater in the middle is less than ideal in some situations.
There are 3 things to this circle. Big crater, as you said right there, and the entire face of it, like the entire side of it going out and away from the crater is just really, really open. And you have the big road there as well. All the teams that are north or east of it, it kind of becomes a river because you have so many compounds from where teams can sit from the safety of cover and just start shooting at you once you drive on by. It's a really, really, really hard area to play around. And believe me, I mean, for the teams that's going to win this one, doesn't have to be whoever is in the best position right now. It's going to be who's going to be able to keep people away and at a distance, because you do not want to have up-close fights, because pretty much nowhere you're safe from a third party. Yeah, look at this, how open this entire mountainside is. Futbolist, they're barely even inside the circle here.
It's going to be a rough push in for them. They've got multiple teams around them. We need a home split up, though. Rita is completely on her own over towards the eastern side.
Yeah.
This could be a little bit rough for her when trying to rotate out, but she does have at least a house to hide in for now and wait for the other teams to walk around. Avangar are going to be not too kind of complaining about this because they haven't had to engage any massive fights. They're just taking the edges again, and they're just watching everything go on around them, waiting for their time to strike.
The thing is, they as well know that they cannot just drive up the hill and on the eastern side of the crater there. They need to get another entrance point. It's too steep. They will slow down the vehicles, and believe me, their vehicles will be blown up by the teams sitting around. So, see Northern Lights now making their run on up. They know Avangar is nearby. It seems like, okay, bro, throwing one nade on out there, but he's going to start to disengage as well.
Yeah, he doesn't want to engage into this at all. It's not worth it. Not until he can get some teammates around him to help him out. And he is kind of being split apart a little bit by the Avangar players here. Split down the middle as it be.
Yeah, some teams decided to try and take some sort of city control on the southern side of La Copraria, and those are the teams that have now made their way up the hills. You see K23, you see Riddle already on up here. And they're gonna, I mean, their main task right now is gonna be holding off anything coming in from the north. Because once the fight, I mean, if the fight goes further south for them, they need to make sure that there's no one behind them, because they cannot risk having them there.
Now, Futbolist, they are a team that will want to now show themselves up in a much better light than what we saw in week 1. They had a couple of games where we went, okay, this is a bit better. But overall, it was pretty much down and out early on for these guys. So if they can turn things around, Miramar could be a map that they feel a little bit more comfortable on, or just one that they feel more practiced on, then that'll be good to see what they can do and what they can deliver.
This position right here just calls for them to get pinned. I mean, if you look at how they're sitting and how they're positioned, they do have the vehicles for cover, but if there's just one team sitting above them, it's going to be so hard for them to move anywhere. New Circle could determine a whole lot of things as far as how this game is going to work on out. It goes out east. Look at the amount of teams on the north and the western side here. We talk about how the entire ridgeline around the equator is hell to play from on both sides of it now, and there's going to be such a big amount of players trying to make their way in from there. Every compound in the circle is taken. This is a tough way to start week 2, that's for sure.
And Avangar are just struggling to keep themselves healed up and going. Aspirin's going to be found out by Des out, and he's going to be taken down straight away there. Spending a little bit too long out on his own, old Asperin. And he will pay the price for it. Okay, Bros managed to land the nade onto Maxazor, who was just coming out of the circle, so he had some heavy damage already done to him. Snoopy and Anuctive have made their way in, but their teammates will go down, which once again sees Avangar. Now, we speak about it. They've always been able to keep 2 players alive and still actually do semi-okay, making the top 8 or so. But they don't win these type of games, and that's the problem for them. This happens far too often.
It's just an extremely rough. I mean, not only do they lose 2 players, but they're also really far away from the circle. They have to make the run through an entire open crater. And well, I mean, had they been on the quiet side of the circle, that would have been good. But now Vasco all by himself, as well, last living player up in the north from the Coparia from Zoekt Een Naam. He has 2 players inside the circle, but they got split off a bit earlier. And now he's trying to hold off the entirety of Northern Lights.
Oh, he's wanting them to push over. He's trying to land those headshots, spraying out on towards them, but it's not going to work out. Vasco does go down. But lots of damage being done here now. We're at phase 4.
Yeah, the only thing is, with the circle closing in already, there's such a small time between the circles. So Noctiv exploded. Vasco went out just before, and that's what we're talking about. Look at this Snoopy. It's one of those Hail Mary plays. There's not a whole lot other he can go for. Just try and get the hell out of that crater. He gets out. But will that allow for him to stay put? I don't think so. Furex, this would be a long one to throw.
Oh, not far away. Not bad at all. Car blows up. Snoopy goes back to using it as cover, but he really needs a little bit more than that. The smoke's come in as well. And poor old Snoopy, the last player left alive for Avangar. They've got no kills, which is surprising, but also there are still 15 teams and 50 players alive.
And that's the main thing, right? I mean, at this point, it's just going to be one big third-party fiesta for whoever is sitting on the southern side, inside the compounds on the other side of the road, right now getting to shoot up on the big mountain side. They will just be able to, if not rag up kills, then at least rag up a whole ton of damage on towards these guys. Snoopy trying to make the runoff out in the blue. Maybe a bit of a obscured vision from the guys trying to hold him off. But believe me, Seekorg, they want to do some damage here. The only thing is they're getting damage applied from the other side. Gamerlegion has pushed up on them.
Gamerlegion might be saving Snoopy in a way here without really knowing it. 3 kills up already for them. Trying to keep themselves hidden up a little bit. Hamster's coming into it as well. More damage being done towards them, though.
Yeah, the last 2 players in the trade-off here, but got themselves some knocks off of it, too. Still players to be dealt with. And the thing is, they don't know that Snoopy is coming in from behind. So if he's actually fortunate enough, he could do the damage. But nope, McKnight spots him out. Good damage applied there. And that's going to be Avangar out in 15th place. Now, New Circle's going to pop momentarily, but all these players, believe me, they're still fighting Miles out on the edge. No tag team up against Riddle. Riddle under a lot of pressure, and Sinsen, Miles out in the blue now, it's going to have a hard time getting anywhere from here.
Yeah, there's no way Sinsen's going to be able to try and make that through, not as with the other team also gatekeeping him out of it. No tag will not be wanting to allow him to get into this. Ivor can hear what's going on, take the first few shots. Is he aware of the next player? Des out under pressure, Prone's down, but will stay alive. Ival now needs to be very smart in this because he's out in the open. They know exactly where he is. He takes some additional damage, and he's just looking for cover. He's looking for an angle to play from. Oh my god, he lands the headshot, goes straight with a flush. He's looking for the next, goes in for the pre-fire as well, but he can't connect those shots. Very well handled, all things considered, but K2-3, they completely swarmed him there at the end.
I like the pre-fire, goes to show the experience and the knowledge he has, plays off of those audible cues. T-Bone still alive, but believe me, he's gonna have an equally hard time getting out of here. As the team captain just did. T-Bone is being shot at from so many different angles, and he has to move around all the time to stay put. 13 teams still in it. Northern Knights are eliminated. A little bit of help from above coming in there, but he still has a tough run to make. He has to make it out of this crater somehow. Sure, he can stay in for a little while longer there. There's so many players. Now all of a sudden the shift on the southern side for these teams to make their way across the road. Oh my god, it's gonna be hard.
It was as if then decided to say, you know, we'll play 1vx and see how many crazy plays we can get pulled off.
Yeah. And, well, I mean, it didn't really work out in their favor. Sure, T-Bone is still alive, but he's not at all safe just yet. Philo by himself trying to hold off Hamster McCann.
He's not going to be safe at all. They know exactly where he is. Trying to use a smoke as some cover. Good positioning here from the Gamerlegion boys. Getting one on the high ground, one up close and personal. So they're spotted out once again. The shots come out towards him. He's very low on health, and he's just trying to hide out in the smoke now.
Nade in hand. You see Force getting in multiple fights as well. There is the blind damage to everyone trying to make their way on, and they're trying to hold the compound on the southern side. Nobody may cross this road, but people aren't crossing already. Power Norkis is making his way in. Phosphor trying to take him down, and that's going to be Seekorg out on your main screen there as well. So many fights happening as everyone is trying to scramble for any sort of cover. There's just nothing to get.
Powerful, trying to keep themselves going here. They know what is just around the corner. Nork is trying to line up the grenade, gets it inside the house, but is it going to pop in time? Does force Phosphor to try and take this fight here, but he's not going to work out. He manages to get the job done, and that's huge, especially with the car blowing up.
3 players, and Phosphor by himself taking out the remaining guys from Powerful. Really, really impressive play. Saltus was nowhere near to help him because he had another team to deal with an LXG down by his side. Now he needs the help of Phosphor to maintain them. Insidegames, they're making their way in from the south. They have been on the quiet side so far. Still 4 guys alive, and they could make some plays on this. So all these teams are starting to fake their fights. T-Bone gone down. Besiktas trying to hold up as well.
And Zen not going to be able to hold on. LXG are also eliminated. This isn't what they would have wanted for the opening games here. But this is allowing us to see some teams that aren't normally getting this far already in it. Futbolist up in there. K2-3 done it again. Insidegames Pixel, he may be just there chilling at the bottom. But where's the rest of his teammates got? Okay, they're all the way down to the far south. So he's just scouting ahead at the moment.
They got a really good chance of doing some damage here inside games. If they can make their way on up along the road, they have some sort of a ridge line there for cover. If they can, well, I mean, if they can time it right and make them move on up accordingly, could be them getting a really good placement in this game, already within placement points.
Is this same hut that Futbolist rolled up on about 3 circles ago?
Yeah, for a while.
That's not bad at all. You kept 3 alive, considering you really could have been pinched at any point here.
The thing is, how the hell do you get away from there?
Yeah, you're now shooting targets at this point when you push out.
The good thing for them is that we need a home decided. We cannot sit center in this one. We need to go to one edge, because if we start taking fire from one side and we shoot back, that's going to be us getting shot in the back too. So pick one fight, stick to 180, to 180 degree instead of fighting at a 360. And they've actually made some room for Futbolist to make that run on up. Should they? You can see there's no one sitting in the northwestern side of them. So should they be able to get a run on up from there?
Lux trying to land some long-range shots here. Maybe Futbolists use this if they see that Besiktas is just fighting a fair bit. But Phosphor's working his way up, and Lux may land their headshot, but now they're under pressure. Tomil's going to find himself getting knocked down. Lux have to push out here, and how are they going to deal with this? Both of the Force players now seeing this as a time to strike, and they can get some good kills. The nade goes out as well, and Lux is on a fraction of health there. More grenades going out towards him, and that's going to be Besiktas going down in 8th place. Solid performance from Force to push out at the right time, and now Futbolists, they've got to try and find a way out of this.
I like the play from Force. They came up through the nades, they got the damage done, and then they backed off immediately. Knew there was nothing more for them to get there, but now they're committing to this one once again, and they're going to be taken down. Circle pushed them in and forced them forward, and Futbolist gets the kill on towards them too. So still, players up for Futbolist going up against no tag team now. I mean, this ending is just absolutely brutal.
Insidegames, they were working their way down from the south, but they've got We Need a Home near him. Polyderic started off with a first striking drop. Can he get the kills in there? Lipsin hasn't overextended yet. Senix was ready, poised on the angle to try and do the damage here as Pixel He's very close, but doesn't know how close he could be just yet. Throws the unhanded grenade, and that could be very interesting. But the smoke that goes down instead, but either way, Pixel's able to hold on to it. Ostrolovic's there backing him up, and they will straight away flush out Lipsin. And now they've just got one more member, Polyderic, to find round the side.
And look at the flank he's pulling off right now. He's going to get a free kill on towards Senix here, but what more can he get from it? Gets the finish up on towards him too, and now they're getting pushed from behind as well. K23 put the perfect time in to do their third party, and that's what I was talking about before. Third party on third party on third party. These mountain ridges are just so damn hard to play around. You never want to be the team to take the initial fight, because you will get pushed in from behind.
Greg! The turnaround, very solid from him. Finds it throughout the smoke, and will end up getting Pixel as well, with a nade coming out from Desout. And now we're down to our top 4 teams.
4 teams remaining. Polyderic still somehow alive, but the thing for both K23 and We Need a Home now is how in the universe do they cross here? They need Futbolist and need no tag team to start a fight here. That's going to be their only real gap to make that run across, because whatever 3-man team here gets to contain them on the other side, that should be them winning the game.
Look at the awareness here from BCGG. He spotted out O'Connell, expects one player to be working down on the side, keeps checking towards his right, but he's looking up top just for that pixel-perfect headshot that may come into play. O'Connell taking a few shots, so it gives more information to him to work with here. And it's more what he can help with his teammates as Jupsig begins to strike out a little bit. He spots out one player, spraying on to give it, but can't land the shot. Now Jupsig's going to come alive into it, and they're going to easily take him down. He tried to play it well, but they just proved far too strong. No tag, getting the job done, and only Genzo is left here to find.
Nice timing on the peaks coming in from No Tag Team. Their team that we haven't seen a whole lot from so far, but they've done extremely well today. And as I said, I actually do believe they have one win.
Yeah, they're
very,
win.
Very talented bunch, very talented bunch, and I'm glad to see them get something going their way here on the first game of Miramar.
Now, if K23 want to win this outright, they've already got to take a good position now in the circle. Polyderic's been left alone from We Need a Home. He's now down in the south. If they can flush out or get involved in the fight between No Tag and Futbolist here, that's the key move for him, because neither of these teams are 3 players alive, can afford to lose anyone. Futbolist, they do get found out. Greg is just up on kills. Currently 6 for him and 10 in total for his team.
For K23 as well, they've been so quiet early game. They've been struggling as well with losing out on losing players really early on in the game. Now they're trying to sort of just prevent any sort of push coming in from behind, expecting there to be a player in the shack. There wasn't like the peak from Desout as well. They're moving up above to hold the angle. Now they know where Greg is. They need to double focus him, take him down, and they do manage to do so. 11 kills, 7 of which has been pulled in by Greg.
Greg is on fire today, and he is certainly not done yet. 3 members left of No Tag Team to find. O'Connell trying to just play the kind of flanking position around the side, right? Be the side swiper in this to allow the information to go to his teammates and potentially cause K23 to focus elsewhere.
They're pretty much mirroring each other right now. 2 guys focused. I mean, you have like the bottom, the middle, and the top layer right now from both these teams. There's a 1v1 times 3 going on right now, and whatever team gets to sort of fool their attention on the wrong side, maybe get a surprise angle, one could be the difference maker and who ends up winning this game.
Jupiter being very careful there. Nade's coming up towards him. O'Connell still trying to go around the side, and he's actually, this could be a huge flank if he gets it done. He's in the position where Desout's not checking. Look, Desout is fully focused up high.
Desout has to expect it. The other thing is, for him being on the low ground, he has so many different angles to worry about. It's such a tricky position to play from, and now the peak comes over. There's the head peak coming from, but he gets a headshot in return. 6x straight out. Coming in there, really impressive play, and they need Mumino, and they need Greg to do something now in order to help out Desout, but they do manage to take down Give It. That's going to be a 3v2 now.
No, Desout,
oh my god, almost naded himself.
You did so well, Desout. You held that position, you held the flank, and now you just naded yourself with the underhand. I don't think you expected to do that. Now you're going to try and get the first aid on. He does have the ghillie suit as well to hide him up, but there's not a lot of hiding places left within this to fight with him. 3v2 now, though, and although No Tag have the high ground, this is still something that K23 should be looking at, just closing out comfortably here if they work together as a unit. Mumino spot jumping.
This angle is so hard to play for Desout, and he really needs the help from the other 2 K23 players up and above him. Greg, they could make a push on up, but still I like to see how they're playing this one passively. They know that the center dot in the end will go down the hill, so why not just wait for them, force them down. They are 3v2, they have the man advantage, so whenever you get shot up by an off angle, you have to have the trust in your teammate that he'll get that shot on in return. Greg is right on the dot, and all they need is for them to push on forward. Just overstep by an inch and they can get them down.
Yeah, K23 positionally have got this in the bag, but it's going to come down to they'll be able to frag out Mamino. Doesn't want to go in for the shots. Watches Jupzig poke his head above that rock. Still out in the open. He does manage to land it. Jupzig instantly knocked after taking down Greg. Now it's all up to O'Connell. The spray's going out towards him. He manages to hold on to one. Can he get this done, though? Mamino, this has to be played to perfection now. You cannot afford for this to go down and out of your favor, especially with Desout going down in that position.
It's a 1v1. O'Connell, do you go for the rest or do you go for the finish off? Mamino still has a chance to get up Greg as well, and the circle's already started closing, and seems like he doesn't want to commit to it, though. The more time Mamino spends not sure of what he wants to do, the more time he allows for O'Connell to get back on up his teammate. The thing for O'Connell is that they might be thinking that Mamino has gone for the rest here as well, but the time that Mamino has been spending, honestly, to me, a little bit inconsiderate, or like not knowing what he wanted to do, is time that no tag team spent a lot better.
Yeah, this is now giving the edge to no tag team. K23. Mamino, beautifully done. Finds himself the first one. Jupzig's the only one left. He's going straight in for the kill. And you know why? Because he wants all the points. He spots Jupzig. Now they're in a true 1v1. He's spraying over the corner, but he gets it done. K23, 14 kills and the win here.